two, Chris.
What do you say, Mikey?
Yeah, good for two.
Why not?
Let's touch your feet. Come off a great game. How's the switch up?
Yeah, I know.
It's like when softball up for pregame interview, I went nothing.
He was stressing that we had the coin toss in time. Now in the next class,
I could tell.
there's no way.
It's nothing in between. It's not a 2-end. Was he like last team in?
Your brother?
Drive through problems.
Totally just thought maybe I had like an autistic sister. I was like, oh, I'm not autistic.
I was sitting there like, I'm like, bringing a few friends out. What is he going on? I tripped on the phone down.
I was saying he was obviously like stressed that I did have autism because he was like, I said, well, you know, I have contact with like autistic people and they're fine. Ironically though, my cousin just ran into this weekend. She's like autistic. So I thought about bringing that up just to try and mess with him. I'm gonna bring it up after the game.
Hey, Craig. Go get him, guys. Good luck, brother.
If we lose, maybe I'll tell him I'm quitting the team.
Last to hit on your second two?
No, we were blanking the end. They had handled his last check and they split.
Tried to bail the boys inside the net. We tried to get him over the field.
He put 4 pounds yesterday. It wasn't just 3, it was like 4 points. Like out of his hands, Scott, they were like,
That's so like,
but he would come out with like a 4-20 and just shove the hell out of it. Like there was just nothing you could do.
Keeping Brent happy.
that's so frustrating. His front end, like, it's like, nothing we can do. We just sit here and watch. You guys are red.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Mayflower Curling Club and the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel, presented by Stanhope Simpson Insurance and Alexander Keith's Brewery. My name is Selena Thompson, and I am sad to inform you that you will only be listening to me today. But maybe that's good if you you don't want me to get distracted by by the other games. I'll be concentrating on the Oulette and Power game. We are in draw 5 of this event. It's a men's and women's event. We had some women's games last night, and we've been featuring the men's games this afternoon. We are always on sheet 4, so if you are watching the live scoring on worldcurl.com and your favorite team is playing on sheet 4, you can click the link to view the game, and you can put me on mute if you want. Team Oulette throwing the yellow stones right now. We've got lead Logan Ward. They do have hammers, so Logan is throwing his second of 2 stones this end. And then sweeping, we've got second Chris Grancelli, third Mike Fleming, and I mentioned Team Oulette skipper in the house is Kevin. And if you were watching the little video montage that was played before we opened up to the game, that's part of the program the Nova Scotia Curling Association is running, and it's the Why We Curl program. So if you want to follow Nova Scotia Curl on social media, you can post a picture of yourself explaining why you curl and use the hashtag Why We Curl, and they'll grab it and continue to use it in some of our promotional material, which is really fun. So we've got Team Power throwing now. This is second Scott Graham. We just missed him, but he's sweeping. Lead Bryn de Chastelain, and third Greg Rayfuse, and of course the skipper Greg in the house. So we've seen a couple games on this sheet already today, and there's been a little bit of teams trying to figure out the ice. We've had some good curl, but in slightly different directions than some of them might have expected. Some breaking away from the center line and then straightening up a little bit. And hit weights are going quite a bit straighter than the down weights, so not seeing as much of that firm and peel weight, a lot more control and hack weight for hits. And we've got an interesting end lined up already. Of course, Team Oulette here, this is Chris Grancelli throwing the yellow stones. There aren't any rocks in the rings just yet, so it's anybody's game at this point. I'm looking for a tap on this, just not quite curling enough, but the raised stone will make it into the rings. Opens things up a little bit. And I suspect Greg doesn't really want to ignore that one. If he can make a good roll here over to the center of the rings, it'll set them up for the steal. So this is Scott Graham. So we're just getting these rocks running a little straight on the wings, especially the further out you go. Now Team Power, they are in this game, they lost their first. They played Team Scott Webb yesterday, and they suffered a loss, so they're here versus Oulette, and Oulette also suffered a loss yesterday, and that was to Francois Gagné. It's a triple knockout format, so you're not out until you have 3 losses. There's 3 qualifying brackets, so we are in the B bracket right now, this game. And there's a women's event as well. Theirs is not a triple knockout. It's a round robin format. All the playoffs are on Sunday. And I'll just get you up to speed as we see that draw from Chris getting buried behind that corner guard. The other games on the sheet right now in the women's are Teresa Breen versus Tanya Hilliard, Nancy McConnery versus Jacqueline Peters. And then in the men's side, the other 3 games are Doug McKenzie versus Colin Thomas, Jason Vaughn versus Mark Dacey, and Ed Sear taking on Brent McDougall. And if you want to pay attention to any of those scores, you can check them out at worldcurl.com. You can follow Mayflower Curling Club and our event on Facebook, where you'll see updates as well. And that was a beautiful hit and roll from, I think that was Greg throwing there, Greg Rayfuse. On his first to roll behind the pile, so really nice shot. So now Mike Fleming's got to do a little bit of bailing out here. It's really hard to put a draw in with all those guards out front. It'll hang on that center line, but once it goes, it does take off. They were whoa most of the way down the sheet there. So for Team Power, they're in pretty good shape. The only thing I'd say is that stone is a little bit to the back of the tee line, but I don't see it going anywhere soon, especially if they can put another one in play. You just don't want to leave this wide open and set up a double and roll behind a guard. Off that yellow front actually turned out okay, offset the guards and blocked off both sides of the draw path to the button. So we'll see another cleanup shot here from Mike. Need more of an angle on this one than he did on the last. They want to keep this on the high side. So cleaned out those two. Shooter stayed out front. They wanted to hit that a little higher, actually cross the face, roll the shooter further, but that works all right. They can see the red stone that is shot right now. And it looks a little more friendly out front. It's a yellow stone instead of a red on the closest to that center line. But not too complicated for Greg. He's happy. It's a force at best right now, so he's happy to guard the situation. So they just want to get this to the center line. So sweepers are working to get the last little bit of curl out of that rock. Had a little rub, and that does the trick there. So now Kevin's got a bit of a job. It doesn't look as friendly as it did before. That rub actually worked well because it offset those guards. What I think he's going to be doing is playing big weight at his own yellow stone on an angle and trying to run the two. He could double peel the reds as well. The risk of double peeling the reds may be that he can run the one into his own yellow close to the 12-foot, though. So this is a double run. It's probably a little more complicated than Kevin wants to be in the first end of this game. He's only facing one stone in the rings. All right, so big weight from Kevin Ouellette on his first of two. And this one's hanging. Might be on the red. That was interesting. Squeeze the yellow through that little pocket. I don't know that that's going to come into play, but it is a consideration because you see that yellow stone over, not in the rings, but on the above the 12-foot on the right side there. That could be angled in, and if that can be angled onto the red on the button, that would be a score of 2. So it's hard for Greg to ignore that. And should say Greg Power because Greg Rayfuse is also in the house. So we got the two Gregs there. I think that's what Greg Rayfuse is thinking about, going, hey, maybe we should not leave this stone here as a second point. Now, Greg Rayfuse is going to need to roll in a little bit, or he will leave. He knows there's probably an in off. So hit and roll toward the center would be ideal here. So that just hits it right on the nose. They were calling the sweep on that, so it must have held back out. So we're going to see the in off, I think. And they would have watched Greg's stone, so calling a little bit tighter ice. If anything, this spot has had a tendency to float a little bit, so the rocks will hold the line and not curl as much as players want. So last stone, first end, is Kevin Ouellette. And that one did just that. So makes the hit, but doesn't get the in off. So that'll be a steal of 1 for Power. They'll lead 1-0 after the first. Ouellette will maintain hammer. And if you tuned in a little later, then and didn't hear my wonderful intro, my name is Selena Thompson, and you are watching the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel presented by Stanhope Simpson Insurance and Alexander Keith's Brewery. We also have supporting sponsor Rockhead Wine and Beer Market. If you'd like to come on out and watch us, we are at the Mayflower Curling Club at 3000 Monaghan Drive. We're in North End, Halifax. It's rush hour right now, so it might not be the best time to get out here, but we're here all weekend, all the way through to Sunday. We do have a karaoke party tomorrow night at 8:30. We got some great DJs and a fun system where you can submit your songs by your phone. So you can maybe put your friend's name down and get them to go up there. So 8:30 tomorrow night. And we appreciate everyone watching us online. The online broadcast is brought to you by Curling Zone. Or sorry. You're probably watching scores on Curling Zone. The online broadcast is brought to you by The Curling Store. And Scott, if you're watching, I think if you didn't hear me earlier, I'm due for a new pair of shoes, so I'll have to come over and visit you. Great store. A lot of teams here get their supplies at the curling store in Burnside. Scott will help you with whatever you need. And he's partnered with Strong Coffee Media Group and Sean Seneschal to bring you this great broadcast. So we do appreciate that, guys. So second end, we're in the B bracket. It's Team Ouellette versus Team Power. Team Ouellette with hammer. A little bit of a different setup this end. We do have a stone in the rings. We didn't have that for a long time in the first end. So this will be Brenda Chaslin's second shot. Brent just looking to come around his first stone with its top 12. He's getting some good finish on that rock. Tucks a piece under, so that's a good shot. Almost nibbling the top 4. The 5-rock rule is in play here. Kevin's not taking advantage of that as we see Logan Ward get ready to throw his second stone. He's going for the hit on the stone in the rings. Of course, Kevin's entitled to put up a second guard that can't be removed from play. We usually see a little bit more of that later in the game. So Logan wanted that one to roll the other way, but it does stay in play, so Greg's probably not going to ignore it. That's a potential second point. Trying to stay on the high side and roll back towards center. That's a good shot there from Scott Graham. Just keep the rocks, or the team without hammer, they want to keep the rocks around that center line area. Keep the team with hammer busy so that they can't make a play behind that corner guard. So Chris Grancelli will try and make that roll behind the corner guard. Seems like the teams are just a little late picking up the sweep call on this. That one over curled as well. The good thing about that was it stayed on the nose, so Scott's going to have to be careful. Doesn't want to over curl and run it back onto their own. This one is not over curling. It's didn't quite get up to nose, so the shooter will roll out. I'm curious to see if Kevin will make a play around that corner guard now. We're still on second stones. He's choosing to go for the hit and roll instead of the draw. Trying to keep the blank option alive here. So this one's going to come up to nose again. The important thing there is for the shooter to stay in the rings. The reason the draw might have been a good option is if you can bury it, the other team really is going to have to peel the guard or try a run back. In this case, with the over curl, Greg Rayfuse throwing has the chance to actually roll away from that corner guard and reduce the chances of Team Ouellette's option to use the corner. And that was a great shot there. And so now Kevin's going to decide to ignore it. He can out-count it, drawing to the wings here. This is Mike Fleming looking for the draw. They're going really hard to get it by that guard. And they're probably going to want to finish it a little bit. We're not seeing a ton of finish around the corner guards. That one's a little deep in the house, but looks like it got pretty buried. Big old roll over there, actually ticked the other red stone. Didn't get the run back, over curled. So now it's a pretty open house to draw and sit two. So this was set up by that nice first draw from Mike. Now he's going to try and do the same thing on the other side of the sheet. So sweepers wanted to get that a little closer to even. There might be a double there for Greg Power. Looks like it's just about a half rock or under. Hit a little too thick, roll across the top. A little too thin goes under, but a little too thick might be able to roll in front of that yellow stone as well. But Greg is going for the double. So watch the shooter where it rolls. Just overswept. So need to hit a little thicker. So now it's Kevin's turn to make that draw. He watched Mike just do it, so he'd be talking to Chris and Logan about the times, the splits. The teams did throw for hammer before the game, but they threw outside in. They threw toward the button, and this is the opposite direction. So it'd be a little bit of a different path. They're going to try and even this up a little better. If they can get it just past the tee line, that'll be great. And that's good. I don't think Greg can throw hard enough to make that flat roll. It's just going to have to sit there, hope for a miss. So this is Greg Powers last, just looking for the hit and stay. Kevin just threw a draw, so at least he's getting him to change up the shot. He's going to call the same ice, throw the same direction as Greg. You just watched his shot. It was just a easy way to control weight. Kevin Ouellette, last stone, second end, looking for the hit and stay for 2. And he'll do just that. So 2 points on the board for Team Ouellette. They'll lead 2-1 after 2. So Team Ouellette will be up first here. I got a special guest joining me today. I texted him, but he must not have got my request for commentators. He got a new phone.
Yeah,
so
new phones, they do you in.
I got Jim Nix joining me here. Thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah, how you doing?
You could make an appearance.
Yeah, just in town. I had to go to the Valley for something and stop back, and haven't watched any curling this year, and not too much other than a little bit last week. And
oh, we got a good game going on, so that's good. So you were watching the Slam in Truro?
Yeah, I went over for a couple draws. Yeah, 3 draws, I guess, altogether, and it was good. I had good crowds. It was a lot of good curling, great ice. It was really nice.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was able to watch a couple draws as well. It was nice to see you in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, local teams did pretty well. That's a good thing, too.
Absolutely.
Local Nova Scotia, at least. That's good. So what we got here?
So we have Team Kevin Ouellette, and they curl out of the Mayflower Curling Club, taking on Greg Power out of the Halifax Curling Club. It was actually a steal of one in the first after both teams had trouble making the house for the first few shots. So Power stole in the first, and then a nice end there from Team Ouellette with a couple good draws to get their deuce in the second. So Team Power has hammer playing the third. Both these teams dropped their first game, so they're in the B bracket right now. And we are in draw 5 of the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel.
Yeah, always a great event. I enjoyed being here. Enjoyed doing some of these games in the past. This is a tremendous event, been going a long time, and certainly nice to recognize Dave and everything he did for the game while he was with us.
Absolutely. We don't mention that often enough. Dave is the former manager of Mayflower Curling Club, passed away in, I'm going to say 2013, I think it was, or 2014. So the Bonspiel was always the Mayflower Cashspiel, but it was renamed in his honor, and it's pretty special to get to host it every year.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like a good field, and ice looks good from what I've seen so far, so that's nice.
So I've been talking a little bit in the different broadcasts about the 5-rock rule. Was there anything, Jim, that you've kind of noticed as it's been introduced to all tournaments instead of just the Grand Slams?
You know what I think, Selena? It's all about when you get down in the game. So I think that real close, tight games, I just don't think you're going to see it used very much. I think people almost forget about it, to be honest, in those kind of games, because you're not trying to build up 3-enders.
Right.
And I really think that it's designed really to help you build 3-enders, and that's tough. You have to leave a lot of rocks around to be able to take advantage of the 5-rock rule. So we had the opportunity to work a little bit with Mark Nichols in September, I guess it was, and at a camp, and he was mentioning the same thing. He just said, well, until you get way up or way down the game, it's not really something that they even pay a lot of attention to, and they leave everything around. So
yeah. Yeah, when you have that big weight ability to blast, you're a little more comfortable leaving rocks in place, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, and at club level curling, which is what most people are doing in the game now, and a lot of our viewers would be doing, it really doesn't come into play unless it's an accident. Somebody accidentally takes one out,
then you got to put it back.
Yeah, if anybody remembers it. So it's it's interesting.
Yeah, we introduced it, and we had a workshop here at Mayflower about it. Our own Brent McDougall, who organizes this and competes, had a talk, and there were a lot of questions. And at the end of the day, the consensus was just kind of, well, it's probably not going to come into play a lot in club curling, but just so you know, this is what it is, and this is what you're going to see when you're watching the elite teams play.
Yeah, exactly.
So nice come around there from Chris Grancelli. That's totally buried.
So I don't know too much. I know a little bit about Kevin's team. Certainly, I don't know a whole lot about Greg's team. I haven't seen them a lot. I noticed their name last year a little bit, but they must be just a relatively new team on the local circuit, I guess.
Yeah, I think they've been playing for a few years, and if I'm not mistaken, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were playing at Travelers level.
Okay, yeah.
But they were in the men's provincials last year, so they've upped their game. They're playing in more spiels.
Well, that's good to see, and it's good to see teams come out of something like Travelers and move into this, because I think that's, one of the goals of that event is to try to give teams a chance to play and get ready to move into the tanker level and Scottish levels.
Yeah, as we see a little bit of a decrease in the competitive team side, you want to see them being built up from the rest of the pool of curlers. And it's nice to have events like this at home where we can showcase the talent.
Yeah, exactly.
So Chris's Rock Stay Bare, we had Scott Graham just threw his rock a little heavy there. So Chris has a chance now. They ignored these stones before, but he can play the run back now.
Pretty defensive call, I think. I know they have a 1-point lead, but it's a fairly defensive call in my opinion. But you already have the one in, but moved it a little bit closer, so.
Yeah, does that out counting the Yellowstone? I think it is.
Yeah, it looks like it is now to me too.
It's hard to do that. It's hard to wick the second one just enough to promote it to shot. Shooter rolled to a great spot though, didn't it?
Oh yeah, perfect, yeah. Yeah, that would be a shot. You try to do that, you'd be there all day and you'd never be able to pull that one off. But so looks like they come around.
I think so. Yeah, sitting one, last rock. You're not going to do much with those guards except use them.
They line up pretty good for Ouellette's team, though. It's
you
get behind it. They really just have to make contact with something to remove it, but I guess you don't really have a lot of choice right now. You're sitting one. You're not going to go out and and start peeling guards off.
Yeah, and drawing open doesn't really help them, although look at this one curl. It's, as it curls, the weight's coming right off.
Yeah, it's really, really nice curl. It's probably a little more than what I'm used to seeing here in Mayflower, actually. You know, always had good ice, but sometimes not quite as much curl as that.
With weight, we've been seeing throwing out that path into the 12-foot has been staying quite straight, but with the draw weight, it is curling. So I've seen a few different calls just coming around, even coming around a corner guard.
The game's more fun, certainly, when there's lots of curl. I know at our club in New Glasgow, it's played a couple games this week, and we've had more curl than we usually have, and pretty good speed, so it's been a lot more fun. I find as I get older now, it's more about having fun and enjoying that sort of thing than whether or not you win or lose. Did manage to win a couple, though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
So yeah, hit and stay. But Greg wants his 2 points. He's going for the roll here. Yeah,
I think you need to try to roll behind that garbage up there. There's a lot of rocks to roll behind. They're set up pretty good now, actually. A little bit staggered on the red one, so.
Exactly, that straight back isn't quite there anymore.
No. This one's going to have to curl a little.
They have to be patient on these hits, but if you're ever so slightly out, they're really not coming back.
Yeah, that's what it looks like there. A pretty good situation now for Roulette's team, even though they don't have hammer. They've got, you know, one in, a bunch of guards, and they can never sink this one around here. They're in real good shape.
Yeah,
looking pretty good to steal.
Yeah. Mike Fleming's up. I think Mike likes the out turn, which is on the center line side, but Kevin was watching. He's giving him a reminder how to throw his stone. Give it a little bit of a spin, make sure, and then it'll get the finish. It won't kind of fudge as much. But Mike really likes the out turn here. I just don't think you're going to get as much finish here, and it might be exposed.
On the out turn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just haven't seen them. They are, when they're coming down the center line, they are breaking away from it and then straightening up, but I'm not finding they're getting as much finish across the center line.
Okay.
But hopefully he'll, well, Mike's hoping he can prove me wrong on that.
Yeah, that's not a lot of ice. I actually thought there was more curl in it than that. That's only 3 feet ice, basically, to try to come around these guards.
Yeah, it's differing depending on the path.
Yeah.
They look like they want to curl, and now this one's going. And the sweepers get it by. They do. What's the weight like? Oh, there you go. It's a good shot.
Yeah, good shot.
Back of the house is the only thing.
Yeah, you can certainly the Powers team could take this end away a little bit by making a good shot here, no question. But still, overall, pretty good shot. They couldn't have got by much tighter. Probably with a little less weight, you might need a couple more inches of ice, but it sits there, as you say, it just stays there a long time.
So Greg Rayfew's trying to follow Mike's rock down, but this one is wider at this point. I wonder if it's an issue with weight as well.
Yeah, he can't. This is going to be big if he goes sliding by that. He probably held on for a shot, maybe, so at least Kevin's going to have to do something with it. Doesn't really matter too much who shot back there right now.
No, if Kevin can sink a good one here, he'll be in a great position to steal.
Yeah. So you have pretty much all of the local, relatively local teams in this. Selena, pretty much all the top teams in it.
Yeah, we've got a couple missing just due to there's another Cashspiel and there's mixed nationals that some of the players are
okay, yeah.
But yeah, for the Nova Scotia teams that are here, you'd largely see these are the teams that are going to be making up our provincials. Or at least I'm sure they hope so.
Yeah. I was just talking a little bit about it. Probably really just trying to figure out exactly how to match up the weight in the ice to really get this one to hook in there. Looks like he's got a tiny little bit more than Fleming had on his shot.
Yeah, they're tightening it up, like they're throwing a little less, with less broom than Team Power. But they have to wait for it to take that curl. And then directional sweeping will help with the rest.
He's got a lot of rotation going.
Even if they can get a piece of that under, that works out okay for them. A hit won't result in Power being shot. It's tough at the back there. It's hard to tell who's second.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. This is a tough shot to get shot on. It's you know, because if he hits it and stays, if he's able to hit it and play where he's tapping with his broom, then he's probably going to jam it on the back, which won't do him a lot of good. But
I don't think he minds going off the side of the back yellow. It's
that'd be
just
perfect.
The yellow's awful close to the red. You don't want to over curl and,
well, exactly, yeah,
and jam and leave the other team sitting two.
That's his best chance to sit to, though, is to play that and make sure he actually does play it to pick off their yellow on the way by, because you know then he can get a little bit more of that top rock.
So I think the end call is for the double on the yellows and roll over.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So we'll see what Greg Power can do here.
It's a big shot for him. He doesn't really want to give Kevin the chance to just play that exact same shot again and make it a little bit better.
Played that with soft weight, just didn't quite curl up. They've overswept. That's the second hit that they've overswept. There was one in the second end as well.
Yeah, that was a little unnecessary panic on that one. That really wasn't anywhere close to hitting the back one, so they just certainly got a little panicky on it.
Yeah, and then you lost the shooter as well, so tough one. So Kevin's got the exact same shot again.
Yeah, you don't like to give players at this level a chance to throw the same shot twice. But it was a tough shot for Greg. It was really tough to get that out, so we'll have to see. So Kevin's got to be careful too, because it's just like we said, it's hard to get it to bust in there, and if it doesn't, then Greg will have the same shot again for a couple. Short wouldn't be a bad miss here, I think.
Yeah, there's really nothing for Greg on the other side to lose that yellow. I think yellow might be the shot rock over red.
Yeah. This looks a little bit heavy to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I always find it very difficult to judge the weight from up here, but I tend to look at how quickly the player is sliding.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I always think everything's heavy up here. Usually I'm wrong, but I think this time we got it right.
It's not going to be the end of the world if it bumps the red to third, although.
You know what? That's fine. I mean, you're going to force him. Yeah, you're going to force him to make a shot for one. I think. I don't think he can afford to try to make that double. That's pretty tough. I don't think it'll actually.
No, I think that's all jamming on the red. Just draw for your one.
Big shot. Looking at three here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Greg gave a little more broom than Kevin on this one, so it's a different path. You won't necessarily have backing if it's heavy.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. If he gives us a little extra because he thinks he's got a rock to come to, he's probably going right by everything.
There's the change.
Yeah. I guess we talked too loud.
It's still a bit more ice than Kevin had, but I'm not accounting for the difference in throws. A little bit softer release than Kevin.
Looks pretty good.
Sweepers don't mind it. I think they're pretty content that it's there. Needs to just nibble the 4 foot. And it will do just that, right on the lid. So there's the single. And so we are tied 2-2 after 3. Roulette will have hammer in 4.
That was a great shot. You know, that's like I say, it's early in the game, but it's a point in the game with you don't make that shot and you go down 4-1 or 5-1, then it's a long way back. We would have got to see full use of the 5 rock roll probably, but anyway, but this is much better. 2-2 game. Can't ask for much more.
Just looking across the sheets, we've got a couple tight games, and furthest is a 3-point difference. So it'll be interesting to see how things shape up as we watch the brackets change. We'll have our, for the men's, the A qualifiers are tomorrow morning at, I'm going to tell you the wrong time, I think it's at 9 a.m.
Oh, that's early.
9 a.m.
But then we'll play the draw, and if it's
And then we've got more games this evening. Our last draw tonight is at 7:30. And these are all Atlantic times, in case you're watching from anywhere else. I know we've got a few people watching from the west part of the country. Some family members.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend when you host this Spiel. There's a lot of draws, a lot of games. Assume these are all 8-end games.
They're all 8-end games, yeah.
We were discussing that last night at the curling club, and it's interesting how things have changed. There was a, you know, back up 8 or 10 years when you put on a cash bill, if you said, well, we're going to play 8 ends, none of the good teams would ever come. Now, if you said you're going to play 10, they might not come. Yeah.
Helps with the timeline to have it only be 8 ends.
Yeah.
Gives
Oh,
a little
yeah.
more
It
time
helps
for
a lot,
ice preparation and maybe sleeping in a half hour later.
Yeah.
Should take about a half hour to play 2 ends, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it lets you comfortably fit in 5 draws a day instead of 4, and you know you could get 5 with a 10-end game, but you really had to push it hard, and you were late.
I'm just glad I wasn't around when games were 15 ends.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forget you're so young. I was around when they were.
Is that your thing?
Yeah. I did play 12 a couple of times, but not in
Jeez.
Canada actually. When we were playing 10 ends when I was around, I don't know, late teens, early 20s. I went to New York City for a couple of times for a Bonspiels, and they were playing 12 ends down there.
Seems
I'll tell you
crazy.
what. Oh, that was a long game. 12 ends is a lot of curling.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's if you play quickly.
Yeah. So it looks like Brent, our organizer's got a little lead in his game over there, or is he? No, he's the other way.
Deficit.
He's down 3-0. Okay. It might not be 3-0 now. I think he just scored, but 3-2.
There we go.
Yeah.
So on our sheet there, we had Logan Ward just, or sorry, not Logan. That was Bryn DeChaslin. I'm looking at the wrong color rocks. Just come up a bit light on his come around. I think it was the come around call instead of the double guard. They're overlapping.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, the double guard's a pretty aggressive call, but and I don't suspect too many people would throw that up this early.
This is Logan throwing, but it looks like a bit of a heater.
Yeah, I think it's going to slide right through by a bunch, really. Might have thought maybe, I'm not sure what happened in the second end. Maybe they didn't play over there a little bit, and he might have anticipated it being a little bit heavy.
So here's Scott's chance to make that come around. The staggered guards are nice when you're the team that's behind them.
Yeah, exactly. A little better line on this one, but still looks like he's going to be a little bit warm. Going hard to get it by. I get plan A first. Oh, just about perfect.
What a great shot.
Yeah. Yeah, right behind the guards, above the tee line. That's exactly where you wanted it.
Nice finish, too. So a little bit of cleanup time, I think, here for Chris.
Yeah, you don't have much choice now. You pretty much have to get that opened up. 4 men's games, 2 ladies games going on.
So nose gets rid of both reds, but the shooter will stay out there. So we want to get a little bit of a roll. It's pretty good. Couldn't have done much better than that.
No, that's a good shot. Perfect would have been just a hair thinner so he could roll away, but it's a curling club. Curling club ice doesn't quite have the action you see when you watch some of the events on TV, so it's a little bit harder to make those shots and make everything go away.
Yeah, it stays as a corner guard, which is the nice thing with the shot stone exposed. So we've got the 2 rocks out front, both usable.
He's playing a tight guard here.
I'd like this to be a little tighter to the rings. Keep it moving to get that curl. I think there might be a hole there.
Yeah, you might be right. It's maybe one of those that you play knowing that if you hit the front one, you're fine. That's so Kevin indicating there.
Yep. I always like those shots.
Yeah.
Throw some weight. If you hit that one, that's fine too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit something.
Anything gives you a better chance of getting 4 out of 4 in the shot is always a good one.
Wonder how you would score that. You have to score. You have to score the called shot, don't you?
Yeah, I'm supposed to. I always figured scoring is, there's got to be a level of subjectivity in scoring, I think. I know they argue it's not, but I really think there should be. And the guard's gone anyways.
Played that a little softer than I would have thought.
Yeah, I think he had to be, I think to get it, get it to curl a little bit so he could get through the hole.
Yeah.
Had to probably throw a little less weight than regular.
So another guard will be the call here for Greg Rayfuse. This one looks a little better.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little tight, but good. I think he wanted to be right about there. Yeah, perfect.
Covers the rock, does the job. Kevin's indicating the run back. Good double peel as well. There's not really any way you can get around it, so you got to use that guard.
It's got to be close, I think. Maybe over curling. No, perfect.
Made it great. So good shot from Mike Fleming. Actually loses both red stones. They needed to keep that a little high to get the angle to remove both. Of course, it leaves the guard out front.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to avoid that. But that was in there pretty good. The odds of him putting it in as good. And not only that, now the rock out there is yours. So if you have to run him back now, it's...
Exactly. And there's 2 of them. They're not overlapped.
Yeah.
Works well.
Have to go hard to get this one by, I think, Selena. It just looked like you're going to roll it over a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny how these are going, though. They're not breaking really hard across the center line, but this is the kind of the best finish I've seen of the draws I've done today.
Good. Well, that's a good throw, good sweeping by these guys. I had real good, real strong front end with brooms. So now we get to see Mike try this, duplicate the same shot he just threw.
Yeah, I'd love to stick it this time.
A touch more weight. almost perfect. Great shot.
So close. Yeah, just over curled the hair.
Yeah, they're a lot tougher to call than the guys make them look on television sometimes. It's they're not that easy, but you don't get as many opportunities to play those kinds of shots, I don't think, as some of the guys that play 100 games a year. That was a good result.
So Greg's not going to get too aggressive. He could go around that center situation if he really wanted to go for the steal, but safe play here. Just hit the stone in the rings.
Yeah, important to stay here. Stay somewhere. Just make sure that Kevin has to think about it or play it even. He's got a chance to roll behind the guards, but since he hasn't probably been out here a whole lot, that's a tough ask.
Doesn't want to roll out on this one. Even knows is all right. Would love to roll in.
Oh, that's
a little
shot.
bit there. Bryn taking it.
Real good shot. It looks like it's still probably 3/4 open. Kevin might ignore it. Yeah.
I think it's fully open. It's just really hard to get that roll under. It's too risky.
Yeah.
So Kevin will go for his 2 points this way.
That's an aggressive call. I like this shot. Skip's got to feel confident with draw weight, and what seem he does. Kevin skipped last year, Selena. I haven't seen him. Last time I've seen him play, or most times I see him play, he's usually playing third or.
Yeah, he's been playing third for Mike for a few years, but they switched it up last year. Mike was skipping and Kevin threw last, and then they changed it again this year, and Mike's just third, and Kevin's skipping and throwing.
Well, it seems like it's working pretty good. Teams seem to be playing well here in this game at least, and.
Yeah, they had one player, Donnie, retired from curling last year, so Logan's a new addition to the team.
Yeah, we've seen Logan play before with the Wilson boys, and there's a couple of guys in, I believe, in Travelers.
Yeah, with Mike Callahan.
Oh, Mike, yeah, sorry, yeah, I got the wrong team.
Yeah, no, the Wilson brothers are on that team, and they're like super
okay.
spares. I have seen Brad today, Brad Wilson, on 2 different teams.
Okay.
He's sparing with Doug McKenzie, and he was sparing with Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc earlier today.
Yeah.
He's out there, so 2 draws in a row he's been out there, sweeping his brains out.
Wow.
Good shot there from Kevin, so
yeah, that
Greg's
was a real nice draw. Yeah.
Follow him down.
He's got a chance to force here, make a good shot here, and just, you know, it'd be nice to bump it back, but even if you're just on top of it, it's going to be a pretty tough deuce. You don't really want to bounce off it here. That's probably the key. Be to it without bouncing off it. That's always a challenge. Guys are working hard.
That's a real nice shot. So would love that to be maybe a half a rock deeper and nestled right up against that yellow, but just about as good as he can do. So Kevin's just got an open draw to the half or full 4 foot.
Yeah, good shot. Like you say, you know, another foot would have been perfect, but this is pretty darn good. You can see Kevin hasn't got a lot of room to work with there, and he's got to get full 4 foot basically, which I don't really know how you define the 4 foot on this house, but inside that logo, it's etched in a little bit, so you should be able to see where the 4 foot actually is. Just the new style logos are a little different.
Yeah.
I like them though. We have them in our club this year on all 4 sheets. It's great. So big shot for Kevin. Nice big end to get 2 here.
Different path than he threw on his first. This is wider out. He doesn't want to get to that center line, so sweepers are working hard to keep it away from it. It's diving at the center line now.
Yeah, no chance for that one, I guess.
So it'll be a single. And Ouellette will take, after the midway point here, a 3-2 lead over Power.
Good game. Just looking across the sheets, I don't know if I can try to give you an update. I don't know who all the teams are, but maybe I'll give it a go. You can correct me where I make a mistake. So we mentioned that Brent McDougall was ahead or losing in his game 3-2. They just finished the fourth end, but we're not sure what happened there. So we'll update you in a second. On this sheet 2, Dougie McKenzie is
playing Colin Thomas.
Playing Colin Thomas from Newfoundland, and Dougie is down 1 playing the fifth end. Sheet 3 is
Jason Bond.
Jason Bond from New Brunswick and Mark Dacey. And see who's ahead here.
They're playing 4, so Jason Bond's up
Jason's
1.
up 2-1 playing the fourth with Hammer playing the fourth. And then on sheet 5 is the ladies' game with Teresa Breen and Tanya Hilliard. That's all tied up at 3 after 4 ends. And on sheet 6, Nancy McConnery's playing
Jacqueline Peters.
Jacqueline Peters from Ontario.
Yep.
And it's on the board. It's 4-2 right now for Peters. I think. Just 1 second. No, I guess not. So it
I think it's
looks like
improved
Nancy's.
for Peters,
Yeah. So Nancy's up 4-2.
And you're missing 1, Ed Sear and Brent McDougall.
Oh, yeah, Brent's game. Yeah, it's still 3-2. Shows us 3-2 for Sear after 3 ends. They haven't posted the fourth end yet.
Perfect. We want to thank everyone once again for joining us online or at the club at the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel, presented by Stanhope Simpson Insurance and Alexander Keith Brewing. And of course, if you're joining us on the live broadcast, you can thank the Curling Store for all your curling needs, for partnering with Strong Coffee Media and bringing you this lovely broadcast. That's the reason we're all here, to watch some good curling. And if you want to come out and see the games, we are at the Mayflower Curling Club in North End, Halifax. It's a lovely day out today to get out and watch some curling.
Yeah.
I forgot my jacket at home, so
Yeah.
I'm braving the elements.
You better just stay in here for about another 4 or 5 hours. I think it's when I came in, it was nasty, and it doesn't sound like it's getting any better out there.
I'm really excited to have to leave in an hour and a half.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get the lull in the storm sort of thing when you're leaving. That
Hope
would be
so.
helpful, yeah.
And then we'll be back here. The next draw, our last draw this evening, is at 7:30. And I can't tell you, I can tell you who we'll be featuring. That will be Scott Webb versus Martin Crete.
Martin's skipping his own team this year. He's been a long time third as well.
Been promoted.
Yeah.
Longtime skipper Jean-Michel Menard took a step back. I don't think he officially retired. I don't think that was the announcement. Just isn't curling this year. So Martin's skipping. This will be interesting to see. That'll be their first game on the broadcast.
That was an interesting team. They really were super competitive with everybody. They could play with anybody. They could beat everybody. And yet they really didn't play nearly as much as anybody. So they were never a real aggressive team on the circuit. And, but always a good team. I'm sure that Martin will be great in the house as well. I think he used to do that probably in junior and just got away from it when he moved up in the ranks. You mentioned the TV, Bob. We've been really lucky here with this event and a lot of events in Nova Scotia to have them broadcast for the last few years. And as you say, is the only reason we put them on is because people watch them. So it's important for people to tune in and have a look at the games.
Tell your friends too.
Yeah.
You can introduce them to curling, and that's a good point. As much as we probably should catch up on this end, is just to mention that the Mayflower Curling Club does have Learn to Curl. If you call and you want to sign up, we run clinics, and there's actually on Wednesday afternoons we're running a Learn to Curl program, and it is free. It's for seniors and for traditional curling and stick curling as well. So if you've ever thought about trying it, give the club a call, 902-454-0085, or you can find us online at mayflowercc.com. All right, back to the game, right?
I keep looking for where you have all this stuff written down. You're just rattling it off. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
It happens when you volunteer a lot at your curling club. You tend to know the phone number and the programs that are on.
Yeah.
Did you hear we have karaoke tomorrow night, Jim?
I heard you say that, yeah. I don't think I'm going to be here, but...
Oh, shame.
Yeah, I know. I have to go to Chedabucto tomorrow to do a curling camp, actually, so... a little too far from Chedabucto to here.
So our setup's been Team Oulette. They're up 1. They haven't posted the score yet, but they've got a rock in the house. 2 guards that were just peeled out by Scott Graham. And there was a draw thrown. I think it was Scott's first or Bryn's second. That's at the back, just outside of the rings. But they do have those 2 corner guards now.
Yeah, good setup certainly for the power team right now. Even though Kevin Oulette has shot rock, it's pretty early in the end, and it's pretty hard to guard that enough times. And you get one opportunity to make a hit and roll somewhere along the way, and you make it, and you might be able to set up your deuce.
Kevin was just looking at maybe playing the peel there, but I think he's worried that one of those red stones will be directed at his stone in the house and jam.
Yeah, you don't want to make it for him, that's for sure. You don't want to improve the other team's situation when you're throwing. They played this out-time draw a lot down here. They kind of have it figured out pretty good, so I expect this to be pretty close.
Line looks great.
Yep, real good.
A little tight to the rings, but
a little bit, but probably far enough out that rolling on the rings is a challenge for sure. You know, another foot short would have been probably better, but this is pretty good. Powers has a chance here, though. I think to maybe roll over there and catch a little bit of the house, which would be good for him.
It does break off the line decently here, although it's been a little bit different this game. That did not move as much as in the other games I was watching. Maybe a little more weight than expected. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Did the job, I guess. Did the main job. Would have been nice to hang it on the rings somewhere on the right-hand side of the sheet, but. So the same shot now for Mike Fleming, and out-turn guard. Chris just did it perfect, so Mike will try to duplicate that. That's got a nice delivery.
Yeah, Mike had that nice out-turn draw in the third here as well. Let's set up that. Am I wrong on that?
I'm not sure.
Or
just watching it going down here.
Yeah, it was in the third, and Power scored a single on that end. That one didn't curl up as much.
No, it just didn't go as far, I think. That's the difference, right? If it goes another 6 feet, then it probably creeps over there another 6 inches. And
even a half rock would be great.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We're right behind the sheet here, and that looks, the camera's a little bit to the right of the hack, so it's probably close to edge from the hack.
Yeah, tough to make the roll. You could make it with a light enough weight, but it's certainly tough. If they were going to guard one side versus the other, they wanted to guard the inside. They didn't want to leave the roll behind the corner guard. It looks pretty good. Must be close.
Didn't get a lot of movement just with the down weight. Needed to hit it thinner, but rolled a little bit more under.
Yeah, probably rolled far enough, just far enough that now Oulette's team can't make the inside roll, I don't think. He'd be really, really, really tight to that guard to try to make it now, so I think he'll just try to get it as close to the nose as he can. Not very much ice. So we're just looking for about hack weight on this. Enough to make sure he gets that rock out. Out there a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, they'll have to watch for the jam on the back red if this does make contact. It's starting to come up a little bit, though.
Yeah, perfect weight.
There we go. Just got that movement that they needed to avoid the jam, stick around.
Good opportunity for Power, though. He has a couple of different options for the roll here. If he can get, he just pointed them all out, basically. He can, could play the, he's going to play, yeah, he's going to play the draw, though. Actually, he's not going to play the hit. Surprises me a little bit. I think I'd be playing the hit on this one. I like the fact that I've got a couple options, yeah.
I think the team likes the hit and roll.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
surprised.
a little safer in terms of protecting your ability to, the blank may not happen because of our guards there, but at least get rid of the other team's stone.
Well, you definitely don't want to get forced to one here either, right? And that would have been, that was a challenge to get one behind there that would have been good enough that they couldn't do something with it. And you have two different roll options with this shot, so I kind of like this shot.
A little extra weight on this one from Greg Rayfuse. It's hanging a bit.
Yeah.
Just going to get to nose.
Yeah. Sometimes I change my mind after the shot didn't work, but I'd still play that shot again.
And it's high enough in the house now, even if Kevin hits and rolls behind the center, there is a draw available around it, so I agree.
Yeah, right, though. It does look like Kevin's team does play a little less ice than the other guys play. It might just be all about rotation. Looks like everybody out here has pretty good rotation to me, but they certainly seem to be a little tighter with ice than the Powers, right?
Well, and to be fair, I mean, Greg just didn't get the roll, so playing the tighter ice may be just to control that roll, although this one's out there a little bit too. They're not coming back till the very end.
No. I think Kevin got a little wide, too. I think he stuck it out there a little bit. Hung on. Might see him ignore it now. I think it's a good time to ignore it now.
Yeah, and you don't need to play around the wings, of course. You got that center guard.
Yeah.
So they've watched the outturn. I think we should start calling it like the counterclockwise turn or something.
You think? Oh, man. Okay. I know. It's
then it's the same for both-handed.
Well, it is. It is. Are you left-handed?
No.
No? Okay. Oh.
I have a lefty on my team, though.
You're just you belong to the left-handed support group. That's good. No, it's interesting. We do that when we teach now, too. We do most of the time try to refer to it as clockwise and counterclockwise turns versus in-turn, out-turn.
It's just harder to say counterclockwise.
It's just too many words. I know. We need to come up with a word that's shorter than that.
And then you have to think of a clock in which way.
Yeah.
Just have another term that you know is like curls to the left. We could say left and right, actually.
Yeah.
Same idea. I think I'm going to start that movement.
A new trend.
Left turn, right turn.
Celine will be trending on Twitter or something with her new...
Hashtag left turn.
It's a good-looking shot. Guys aren't doing anything with it. A little bit heavy.
Slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit heavy.
Oh, I mean, it's in, which is good.
Yep.
It's buried, which is good. But I don't think we'll see Kevin hit it. He'll probably just come down to it. Same thing that Greg did in the last end.
Yeah, it'd be a tough hit for sure.
It's far enough back. You could play the heavy draw. You see that sometimes when teams really don't want to give up the two. But all that's needed is the draw here.
Yeah, Kevin's throwing a lot of draws, and so he should be pretty close with this. Tell you, just looking across the boards, every game is close. There's no blowouts in this draw at this point. So if you're coming down to watch, expect to see a close game. Isn't it? A lot more fun watching close games. And playing them. My wife would disagree. She likes to, whenever Canada's playing or something in a world event, she'd like the score to be 11-2 for her.
She wants to blow out.
I'm cheering for the other team to score sometimes just so the game is close and fun to watch. And
yeah.
She's like, what are you
get
doing?
The more interesting shots that way when
yeah.
it's less blasting. This one looks quite good, though. It's really carving toward that guard.
It's okay. He's by a couple inches.
Just like a good one. They just need that to sit now. over curled a little bit, but I don't know that it's enough that Greg can get around and do much with it.
No, I think it's really
It's
tough.
overburied.
Yeah. You'd have to go on the other turn, I think, and then find some magic there somewhere, because it has to get pretty much 3/4 across the face to make it, and enough weight to move it out. I don't know. I think you're going to see him draw. By the time they finish talking about it, I think you'll see him just play the draw for one.
I know that's what I'd be calling.
Yeah.
The Gregs are asking, do you think that's there?
Yeah.
Front end. Thick half.
Yeah.
That's what they can see. And I think Greg's talking about the out turn.
Yeah.
No, he's going to go for it with the in turn. Sorry, right turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So much for hashtag left turn. Okay. So I think that it might be worth a try.
For one
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be.
It's a tough shot.
It's different. You just threw the left turn.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's. I think the problem with this is that it's. They think they can see a thick half, and I don't know. We're pretty much right behind it too. It's a pretty tight half, I think, once you get in the hack. But you can't afford to give up one here, so you got to make sure you score. Yeah. So you just heard Greg say, actually, I could even say I don't think it's there. He's probably right. Probably wasn't there for two. And if you just played this one, you might as well play this one again. A lot of ice here. Both skips have pretty good draw weight today, though.
Yeah, it's been an interesting end here, but this is ending up with a draw for the single for Greg Power.
This one's got to curl a bit.
Looks like a little extra weight, too. As long as it gets across
Might
that
be okay.
line and makes a little contact there. Could stick around.
No. Yep.
Oof, just
Really
good
good
enough
shot.
for the single.
Yeah, real good shot.
So we've got a tie game on our hands here. Power Ouellette. After 5, Ouellette with hammer in the 6th. And this is how we started out the game. Tied and Ouellette with hammer, but now we've got 3 ends. The benefit for Ouellette, they've got 2 hammers to 1 if you look at scoring with hammer. So they're probably pretty keen to put a point on the board here.
Yeah, 6th end's always big. Always big to score in the 6th end, almost no matter what the situation is in the game. You know, up 1 or 2 or even down, 6th end is a big end to score. So it'd be interesting to see how the teams approach this end. I think Powers needs to probably be fairly aggressive in trying to maybe set up a steal, but Kevin might be, Ouellette's team might be just as excited about trying to get 2. So because they know at the end of the day, if they take 1, they're still in a pretty good position in the game.
So do you think this might be a 5-rock rule candidate?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We can't count them anyway and see if we can get that straight.
See if we can get them to demonstrate it for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, guys.
It's a tight game. Like I say, I don't think the 5-rock rule comes into play a lot in tight games, but
at the very least, you'll see the center guard first.
yeah, I'm going to see some rocks in play. I think it's going to be, should be a good end that way. There's been rocks in play, not lots and lots of rocks, but there certainly has been rocks in play in this game. It's a good shot. Perfect. Perfect center guard. Placement of that guard is always so important, you know, and it really comes down to how much the ice is curling. And when the ice tends to not curl as much, those guards sometimes can be a little bit longer, or need to be a little bit longer, but if the ice has nice curl, the nice tight guard's the way to go. So I'd say his is probably in a pretty good spot. Could have been maybe a couple more feet in, but that's pretty good. Corner guard being called here by Kevin Ouellette's team.
Good job from Logan.
Yeah, leads are doing their job so far. Didn't see the call here. I don't know if he's going in or if he's going short again. Looks like he's coming in.
Yeah, I think so, although this one is a little bit out there. It doesn't look like it's ready to slow down. So we'll just probably take it back.
Yeah, I just have to assume he must have got it out there on his own a little bit, because it's certainly nowhere near the guard, that's for sure.
No, it still isn't. There's still air.
Yeah.
So, and it is just behind the tee line. I almost see this as a decent opportunity to just wrap one around and play a draw for Logan. The top 4 foot, that one's wide open. You don't have to hit it.
He could do that. The other, he could actually take a chance if he wanted to go around his own corner guard, too.
Exactly.
You know, you're going to have to make a couple of good shots after that, but...
Oh. This one started to take off. Sweeping it to stick around.
Wow. I don't know if they just missed the curl on that or if it had jumped a little bit. It sure didn't look like it did anything real crazy. But they didn't call it right, that's for sure. Had too much room, I think, coming around that guard. So they'll attempt to do, the power team will attempt to do the same thing again, just with a little bit better result. Second stone, Scott Graham. He's working, yeah, they're backing off a little bit now, working pretty hard at the start.
This one looks like better weight.
Yeah, it's going to be much better.
Got to make it to the rings first. Oh, they'll just get it there. No problem.
Well, the nice thing about that is, you know, if they do peel the guard, you can actually come around that rock.
Exactly.
It's high enough that you can do that.
Kevin knows that. That's why he's talking about the double peel, but they're directly in line, so to get them both moving, you're probably going to leave a guard out front no matter what.
Yeah.
Might not be right on the center line.
Some teams might play this on the other turn, hoping to maybe hit it thin enough to bounce their own into the rings, but it's a pretty good corner guard right now. You don't really want to lose that, so Kevin's going to go with the straight peel on the other side, I think. Well, it's coming up anyway. Wow. Curled a long way, or else he got it started. I'm not sure which, because it sure moved a lot for that much weight.
So no need to fret for team power. Just put another one up there.
Yeah, that's always a tough call. When you have a rock in the top 12, maybe biting the 8 foot or something that's not really good enough to guard, and you can bump it up a little bit. That's a tough shot, though, to get it perfect, and sometimes just easier to throw another guard up, which I think what these guys wanted, but nobody's sweeping it, so they must figure it's a little bit hot. Probably going to be right on top of the other one.
Yeah, leave a double here.
Yeah, won't be super happy with that one. Good news is if Ouellette makes a double, you're probably going to have a rock here to work with. It's just going to be the opposition's rock if you're powered. Chris Grancelli. This one might over curl as well.
Yeah, they would love to get both those reds moving.
Yeah, I don't. Chris looks like he's throwing it pretty good. I don't know if it's just moving more than they think, or if he's actually getting it going a little bit inside. And with that much weight, I have to believe that it's probably the thrower. He's probably just getting it started a little bit inside the broom. Same shot again for team power.
It's not too complicated this end, is it?
No, not as much as I thought it might be.
Guard hit, guard hit.
I gotta go hard on this just to get it over.
Just.
Well, Lillette now has a couple options. He could come right around it, but he play this out turn. A little hit and flop is a real good option. The guard's really long. It's not really going to hurt you much, I don't think. Make this roll behind the corner guard, be pretty good.
Mike probably can't see any of that rock, but like you said, well, I can see a decent amount actually from the hack, just the camera slightly off from the hack.
This one's going to have to move a little bit. It's all about weight here.
They are moving, but they wait so long. You have to really anticipate the curl.
Yeah, it's going to be real good.
Oh, just not quite enough roll. And it looks, like you said, it looks like it's not going to even make contact, and then when it finally takes that finish, it really moves.
Yeah.
Just underswept. Thrown well, I think.
Well, or has to be a little careful here, I think. You don't want to be jamming this on the back because you can all of a sudden not be thinking of that, and you hit it and trying to get a roll, and all of a sudden it's on the back when you're not quite buried, and you're looking at giving up 2 again.
That's why you have the player in the hack looking, because oftentimes the person in the house calling the game just won't be paying attention what's behind them because they're not worried about it.
Exactly, yeah.
I have been there.
Yeah. It's on its way. I had to put it back a little bit. He was sliding a little bit tight. It's pretty good. Didn't jam it.
Avoided the jam. That's,
yeah.
that's the key on that.
So let's squad now. They're going to ignore that, even though that's biting. It does count, but it's only counting by about an inch. They figure they can outdraw that pretty easy and maybe set up their deuce. Mike might not like it. He might like to hit it and try to flop behind the guard. I probably like to draw this time, I think.
Yeah, if you're going to go for your 2.
The only problem is, the only problem I think is the guard's so long, right? That it's just, you really can only go by and be in the top of the 12-foot, or else it's going to be gettable, if that's a word.
We'll pretend it is.
Yeah. I'm sure if that guard was a little bit tighter, there would be no question here. You'd be coming around it. It's just a matter of whether or not. The hit's a pretty defensive call. Yeah, it can do the job, but definitely a little bit defensive. But it also keeps the blank alive, so if you don't score, you can blank the end. 6 end, like I said, is a nice end to score, but you don't want to score 1 unless you have to.
So would you say that this should be high in the house, like 12 foot at best?
Yeah, I'm thinking, right where Kevin's room is there, basically 12 foot, bite the 8 foot, half the 8 foot at the most. If you go much deeper, I think he's going to be able to come around and get it out. Yeah,
I mean, we saw Mike get that one. It was partially open, but it really did curl.
Yeah, he over-curled, and he actually hit more of it than he wanted to hit, so that's not going to be any benefit to be deeper.
And so they've switched turns, too. The out turn was what Mike threw for his hit. The left turn.
Yeah. I'd be playing this turn if I was throwing it, and as long as I knew the ice on this turn. I just like the idea if I end up leaving a quarter of it open, it's not available to roll behind a guard.
No, they just want to leave this high. Got that pretty well. It's maybe open a tiny bit on the other side.
Yeah, pretty good, though. That's about as good as you could do, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not very much open. Not looking at that. But it will curl. I'm sure you can get that. It's just if you're okay looking at it from the hack.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with it. For anybody that's just tuning in, this is the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel. I'm Selena Thompson, joined by Jim Nix. Surprisingly, I was all alone until Jim showed up and jumped on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're watching Team Greg Power and Team Kevin Newlett. And the event's brought to you by Stanhope Simpson Insurance and Alexander Keith's Brewery, and the broadcast is brought to you by the Curling Store, partnering with Strong Coffee Media.
So Greg's going to go after this. Selena's going to have to throw this one real well. He's got to make sure you throw it at the broom. You got to believe it, because you're not going to be able to see it, and you got to make sure you don't throw too much weight. If you can do all that, you can probably have a pretty good result. I'm sure Kevin will just go around it again, but can't do anything about that. You might think Greg could come around it too, and he could, but without hammer, you just don't want to give him an easy two. And
this looks like a little more weight than Mike threw, but they know it will move.
Conflicting call here.
He got it, and the roll is a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. That's a dandy shot.
So what that does is forces, if Kevin's going to play that draw again, guess what? He's got to be better than a half 8 foot now.
Yeah. I don't think he can put it where it can't be taken out. Judging by the way they got that pretty easily.
Yeah.
So anything deeper than that certainly would be able to get at it for sure. But he doesn't have a lot of choice. I think he pretty much has to play it. And
yeah, and I think Kevin could leave it open on the other side, at least make Greg throw the other turn.
Yeah, yeah. Still pretty wide open house. I mean, you still only have the 8 foot to draw to if things don't go quite right here. As long as you don't put this in the totally wrong spot, you should be in pretty decent shape to score. Said earlier, Kevin's had a pretty good draw weight all day, so expect this to be close.
They all look really hot to me.
Yeah.
But they do come down once they start to take that curl.
Not the end of the world for him to be deep. I'd probably want to make sure I buried it.
Yeah, behind the tee line,
yeah.
I mean, either way, the other team's going to try and force you.
Yeah. Good line.
This is interesting. It's almost so far, it's overburied. It's actually open on the other side. It's overburied on this side, but Greg just threw this, likes it, going to play the same throw.
Yeah, I think that's why, too, because he just threw it, and you saw how it reacted, and it came up really nice, and it obviously fit his eye in the last one, so he should be pretty comfortable with it.
The funny thing is you can probably see the rock on the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
But this makes sense for being a makeable shot.
I'd have to go the other way, because you can see half the rock on the other turn. I'd never be able to make myself do this one. Set it just a little bit.
He's not taking the curl. Starting to go now, but it has to get to that center line and cross.
Yeah.
So a bit of trickery there.
Yeah, I think it was I think the shot was there for sure. He might have thrown it a little bit heavy and just kind of gave it a little flick out at the end, which kind of burned him a little bit. Just set it out there and just couldn't get it back. Still, I'm with you though. I'm thinking this in turn would have looked much better to the eye to me.
By in turn, do you mean right turn?
Yeah, the right turn. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be there. Yeah, right turn, yeah. Maybe left or right. Yeah.
I'm going to try and make that a thing.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear me before, I don't like that in turn and out turn is interchangeable depending on the hand you throw with. So I think we should have a uniform language for it. And I'm not happy with clockwise and counterclockwise.
No, it's too many letters. So a draw for 2 for Kevin Ouellette. Looks pretty routine by the look of it. We're right on the tee line. Good shot. A 2-point lead.
That's the first time this game, so it'll be right now after 6, 5-3 for Ouellette. Power with hammer and 7.
That's a big deuce. Like I say, it's big to score on that end at all, and certainly getting 2 is, you know, you're probably looking at this now saying, well, we try to force to 1, but 2 is okay, and we have hammer coming home.
Yeah, and it looked like 1 all day the way the rocks were coming around, and
yeah.
Team Power just a miss on the last. That was it.
Yeah, Ouellette's team made 3 nice draws there at the end, but at the same time, it was Greg made his first shot. It certainly looked like he'd make the second one. Just a little high, a little out. Looked like a force for sure. Didn't turn out that way. So you got 1 game over, Selena. Looks like the game on seat 6, the McConnery-Peters. Is it Peters?
Yep.
Game is over. McConnery coming out of that with an 8-3 win.
Oh, really? I thought it was the other way.
Oh, is it the other way? Oh, I better not.
Oh, I'm not sure.
For Peters fans out there, or a McConnery fan, don't quote me on that yet. I might have it backwards.
You just let me double check that one.
And the guys from Newfoundland, the team from Newfoundland, just wanting Dougie McKenzie to death over there. They stole the 3rd, stole the 4th, stole the 5th, stole the 6th. It's only 5-2, but
they've scored a single point in
5 ends in a row.
5 ends in a row. Oh no, sorry, it was McConnery. You are correct. Big steal of 3 in the 6th.
Well, that's good. Then I won't get any nasty mail.
I doubt you would anyway, but
well, you know, sometimes I've followed games before where all of a sudden you go along and along and along, and you think one team's ahead.
And
then all of a sudden it's posted, and so the other way around. You're like, oh man, what happened there?
We have handshakes on sheet 1. That's the McDougall-Sear game, and Sear was leading.
He was leading 4-2, playing 6, so I have to assume he scored a bunch because they're shaking hands, and unless Brent got 7 or something, it wouldn't be shaking. So I don't suspect that happened. So this end's starting to build. They've got 1 corner out there. A little surprised he doesn't throw the second corner right now, to be honest. This is when you talk about your 5-rock rule. This is probably a good chance to use it.
Absolutely.
Because now you're going to go around the corner. He's going to peel the corner when he can. I guess he can't peel it yet. But you're just you're really playing for just 2. I know you need 2, and you'd like to get 2, but 3 would be really nice.
I know a lot of people are hesitant if they're going to play the second corner to play it on the opposite side. Like they'll play 2 on the same side, and it's tough because that's a halfway guard that's there. So if Greg doesn't want to have an opposite side guard blocking a draw path, but
yeah.
I think you got to assume that like one of those will be peeled at some point. And although the team without hammer, often I'm seeing is just leaving the guards and junking up the center of the rings.
Well, there's some merit to that too. You know, you think about that and say, well, if he does throw another corner there and you throw a guard on that, he's got a lot of rocks to get out of the way before he scores. So that's, yeah, I've often thought that. I mean, certainly, you know, I mean, these teams can have the ability to remove a lot of rocks in one shot, and so it's a little different than teams like I would play with these days. But but still, I don't care who it is. It's still a lot of rocks. You got to throw it really well. You got to get rid of a lot of rocks in a few shots, and it's tough to do. This one overcurled a lot, though, so he's got a wide open hit pretty much for Chris Grancelli.
And wants to lose the shooter, too. It's not fun to keep those around the back of the rings. That's only helping the team that wants the points.
Yeah, that's right. Chris is not going to miss too many of those for sure.
So Grace playing a hit and roll here. I'd still be tempted to draw, just because it's easier to control where your shooter ends up. But I get the thinking, like, you got to remove these at some point. May as well go for it now.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I think that it's you threw the guard out there and you tried to use it once, and I think you got to use it again. So I don't think there's any question in my mind. This particular strategy kind of baffles me a little bit. This might get a little nervous about getting into trouble, but seventh end rather, down to, yeah, it's time to not be nervous about getting in trouble.
Yeah, and then you see what happened there. They it stuck around, which was good. They were sweeping to get it to curl, actually over curled.
Yeah.
So it's too bad. I mean, the guard will stay out there, and now if Chris rolls out, which I'm assuming they're probably going to want to do, come around that corner guard, and you do have the 4-foot open. It works. I just think it's easier to achieve what you want by just throwing it there and playing the hit later.
I agree. It's going to stay. Probably not the best place to stay, to be honest. If he was going to stay and stayed exactly where he was, that would have been better than rolling a
Yeah, this is jammable now.
Yeah.
So there's the draw call.
So it might work out for the power team after all, but you're going to have to make everything perfect from here on in this end. And probably still need a miss somewhere to maybe get away with a deuce. Pretty darn good shot. A couple feet shorter would have been nicer, but it's pretty darn good. Be interesting to see what Kevin does here.
What can Mike see?
Well, you tell you what, if you miss this one, you have to hit that guard. And you have to make sure it doesn't end up on yours. Let's wait. He called normal weight on this, I think was what I saw.
Yeah, and these are the ones that have been floating out a little bit, but let's see if it'll come back. It's by the guard by a bit.
I think he's good.
Just.
He even got it to roll outside a little bit. Mike's throwing the rock good today. So he's got the same outturn. Power has the same outturn draw again. They really need to kind of make this a little bit better. Need to keep it a little bit from over curling that little bit and keep it maybe a little higher in the rings.
This one's breaking a little earlier.
Yeah, it might be a little bit light.
Wonder if they can get it by. Oh, just rubs.
Well, get on the rings. No, not quite. So Kevin's going to turn it around a little bit here, get a little more aggressive this time. Or at least going to think about getting aggressive. Now they're going to chat about it. What'd you play here?
It's hard to peel.
Yeah.
I'd be real tempted to peel, but it's tough to do that without jamming on something.
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't know that I love any kind of come around.
Well, you got 3 rocks each to come. Played a little tap. What does he do? He probably tries to make the double. If you put this in the right place, he can't make the double and roll behind anything. I think I'm playing the tap.
Yeah, I like that more than anything else because you don't risk having staggered rocks or.
Yeah.
And you know that the any hit that's played by Team Power, the thrown stone is probably going to be accessible.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice if they could peel.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hit the high one, but it's not a great rock to go around, and
Yeah.
Power's got the tap on the red, so kind of got to counter that somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's, the tendency is to think let's peel, but I don't know. I'm thinking I'm playing the tap. The peel is, it would drive me crazy if I had to end up peeling it on one of my own. And if you leave your shooter in the wrong spot, you might just give him a easier come around. If your shooter rolls just 6 inches to the left, as we look at it here, you come around on that out turn, all of a sudden it's pretty hard to remove. So I think this is the best call. Certainly the most aggressive call.
For sure. I suppose you could just nose the closer red as well.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
Leave your shooter out front, blocks the draw path, but it leaves the full 8 foot to get to if it were available.
Yeah.
I think you've talked me into this too.
Okay. I don't know if that's what he's playing. It looks like if he is, it's going to overcurl by a ton.
No, this is not what was planned.
No. I don't even know for sure what they were thinking there. Maybe Mike just hadn't completely
well,
bought into the shot.
Yeah,
maybe.
looks light.
Yeah.
What it does do is kind of block the tap. But and now those are staggered guards. And if Greg Rayfuse makes this hit and roll, it's going to be tough to get at.
Oh, really tough to get at. Yeah, I think you're dead right. It's you certainly gave him a chance to start the process to get his 2 for sure. Needs a roll, definitely needs a roll, but if he gets any kind of roll at all, it's going to be hard to remove it.
I'll have to watch this. They lost one before trying to get it to curl too much. It will go. This one
Close.
just waiting a little bit. There we go. What a beautiful roll. Great shot.
Yeah, perfect shot. Perfect shot.
That's what you want to have when you're down 2 playing 7.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike's was one of those that you look at it now, you're like, oh, I would have been better off I didn't throw it at all.
Exactly, you'd have the run.
If it's not there, at least you can play this double. So Kevin's going to peel this front one out, the yellow and the red, try to get both of them.
Yeah, he'll hope to have a double on his last.
Yeah.
Greg's got to go in.
Well, and I think he has to make sure he doesn't give up 3 here. So I think this is, by playing this shot, it pretty much guarantees you won't give up 3 as long as you make it. Because he doesn't have anywhere that he can go and hide everything, so you're going to probably give up the deuce, which is fine. Gonna get them all? Yeah.
Kind of scattered the yellows, but the red's open now.
I'm surprised he didn't get a little more action off of that. It looked like it would kick a little bit further than that, but.
So this one's got to be back. You see them indicating above the tee, probably going to leave a double, although there's all kinds of jam possibilities on the side there.
Yeah. Well, you throw it back there, anywhere back there, and Kevin's probably got to hit it, just give you a hit for your 2, because he can't fool around with the front one a lot. He just you know, if he ever does, he could run it back on his own yellow, and that would be disaster. Good to see Dougie McKenzie over there in sheet 2, playing the team from Newfoundland. Broke the string of 1 point. Didn't score, but did break the string.
Got a blank.
Yeah, got a blank. Yeah, he's baby steps, I guess. So he's down 3 playing the 8th end. We'll be seeing if he can take advantage of the 5-rock rule. It's a big shot here. You got to make sure you put this in the right place. You have a top 8 and you give Ouellette a chance to make a hit and a roll. That wouldn't be good. Not going to get back a long way, I don't think. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Does the trick.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you look at it, the perfect roll could actually be shot rock and not be able to be taken out, but that's a pretty tough shot.
So the roll will be ideal, you hear Kevin saying, but obviously plan A, just remove the red stone, the shot stone.
Even if you can roll, you know, get it over there close to that red one, just so it makes it Greg Power's shot a little bit tougher. You know, give him something to look at, something to think about a little bit. You know, so if you get a piece of your rock behind the red one would be nice.
This one is tight. They're going just to keep it on the stone. I think the roll is out of the question. Oh, they brought that back a lot.
Yeah, too far.
Oh my goodness. They like floated that.
Wow, that was, yeah, you're right. That was
that
crazy.
That was not on the stone when you let that go.
Yeah. Yeah, for a little while I was thinking, well, he has to hit it first, you know, not over
goodness.
curl, but.
I can't believe they swept that out that far.
So an open hit for the 2 in the tie, force this game to the last end and give himself a chance for Power. He needs to stay for sure. But it seems like every shot they played in this game has been down the same out-turn path, basically. You know, a little further out, a little further in, but almost
draws,
every,
hits.
Yeah. So I think this looks pretty good. Needs to curl up a little bit, but should be fine. That's a good shot.
Wonderful. So nice end there from Team Power.
Yeah, impressed with this team. I haven't really ever seen them before, and it's just pretty darn solid. Greg throws a good rock, and need the odd blip here and there, but missed a bad one in the last end, but made up for it there. So got a tie game coming home.
Yeah. So Team Ouellette will have the hammer coming home. This is the 8th and final end, unless it's a blank, of the Ouellette Power game at the 2018 Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel. I'm Selena Thompson, joined by Jim Nix, and this event is being brought to you by Stanhope Simpson. I always think I'm saying that wrong. Stanhope Simpson Insurance and Alexander Keys Brewery. And the live stream that you are enjoying the game on, brought to you by The Curling Store, your one-stop shop for all things curling, partnered with Strong Coffee Media. And I'll give a special mention to 45 North as well. They're Sean from Strong Coffee and Chuck from 45 North working together on this event. Sean's our guy here today, working the cameras and bringing you our lovely graphics so you know what score it is without us telling you. That being said, it is a tie game at 5-5.
Oh, yeah. Well, in fairness to Sean, he is working alone in there today for this draw.
Oh,
so
he is. He's working High knee off. That's why it's a gentle reminder.
Yeah. Yeah. He was saying today, I was talking to him a few minutes before I come over, and this is, I think, the 17th, I think he said, curling event he's done now,
Yeah.
which is pretty
There
amazing.
we go. 5-5. Look at that.
All right, just like magic.
So we'd like this one to stick around top house. Of course, the team with hammer, Team Roulette, doesn't need any guards. Guards are only going to help the team without hammer, but a little heavy on that one from Logan Ward. Will slide through.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. It didn't really have to worry about a corner there, I guess. But anyway. So we'll have
They
a
were
second
drawing.
guard.
They were drawing
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
So important to keep these guards spaced. So this one, I think he'll try to put this at probably 4 or 5, 6 feet maybe over the hog line, and directly in line with the back rock. Well, not really where you'd like to have that one, Selena. I think certainly like to be a little shorter and a little bit more on line with the reds. The double peel is certainly makeable there now, but thinking to come over to take in the 7 o'clock draws at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock draw tonight or 7:30 draw?
7:30. I hope it's 7:30 because I won't be back here.
Yeah, it is 7:30, and just a reminder too that the Mayflower Curling Club here, the dining room, the kitchen is open at 6 o'clock from 6 o'clock on, so good spot to come and get a bite to eat if you want to come over and watch some curling a little bit later.
I recommend the Thai chicken wrap or I've seen an ad for I don't know what to call it, deep fried platter.
Oh, really?
I haven't had it, but
I can't do deep fried right now. Just
8 under platter, sorry.
well, okay.
I knew it had a name to it.
All right. Yeah.
It's got some fried goodness.
Yeah, that's a little deep. Not where they would have wanted that one, but early in the end, it might not hurt you. But I certainly would have preferred it to be up a little higher. Power now will play the come around. Sent you my contact. Big shot here. This is when the front end gets a chance to play shots that are just are way more important even than earlier in the game. This is a chance here to lock one around these guards and put it in a good spot, and you set yourself up for the steal.
It's looking pretty good. Just need to come down onto it. Anywhere in that 4 foot, even a little higher would have been great too.
Yeah, certainly higher would have been better, but it's not terrible. Take probably 4 or 5 feet off of that, and it's ideal. Chris Grancelli, second stone for the Roulette team. Now will play the peel. They'll hope to get both of these. They're set up certainly that he could do that, hitting it a little bit high side. Looked a little bit tight out of his hand. Close.
Got them both. Shooter
shot.
stays out there, but those 2 reds are gone.
Yeah, it was going to be hard. It wasn't impossible, but it was going to be hard to not leave the shooter hitting it that way, especially you would have had to hit it really thin over the top of it, which was going to be tough.
So I'm going to have to say my goodbyes. I have to leave a little early, but you guys are in good hands with Jim here. I'm just going to switch headsets with you, Jim. So there we go. I'll see you guys later at 7:30.
Okay, Selena, see you again later on. So Power now throwing the out turn come around. Guy's working real hard on this one. He's by. Goal of that shot isn't necessarily to to be your winning guard is to set something up for after. So if you have to come around it, you can come around it. Kevin Ouellette now has to decide what he's going to play. I can't believe he won't do anything but peel. Grancelli will try to make the double peel once again. Just has that ability, like most of the players nowadays, to throw the high hard one and throw it straight. I can almost throw the high hard one, but I can't throw it straight, so I can appreciate the skill it takes to do that. His way. I thought he actually set it back a little bit, but they're calling the sweeping on, so apparently not. Logan Ward got another double. So back-to-back double peels for Chris Gancelli. It's about the best you could do. So another come around. He still has one guard to work with, which is enough for sure to be able to steal a point here. Just got to be perfect. And a really good game. Pleasure to sit in on this one. Greg Rayfuse. Sweeper switching there. Sometimes you'll see the switcher, they'll switch positions from close to front, just depending on how much they want the rock to curl or not curl. Small swept. Might be able to make the double though, if you want to go after it. It's a tough situation because you can peel the front one for sure, but Greg's got a couple of pretty good ones in there, so you might want to take a run at the two reds. Still leaving the guard, but the end result would be better if you can make it. But you could peel that one right back into the reds too, which would be even better. You probably could accomplish the same thing actually. Maybe even get both reds and leave your yellow around. Looks like they're thinking about playing the double on the reds. Game and shoot 2's over, and the Thomas team, I believe it is, out of Newfoundland, pulled out a win over there. I don't know what the final score was, but it's 5-2 on the board. But they ran him out of rocks, or ran Dougie McKenzie out of rocks. So Mike Fleming now is going to play this double, playing it with a fair bit of ice. So you think he must be playing it relatively soft, somewhere around that board weight, I think, or maybe to control. It's on its way. Just going hard now. Got to get by the guard. No, he's not going to get by the guard. Well, in effect, you basically played a peel with that shot, which was the other option, so it's not terrible. But you've probably cut off your draw to the button on the out turn, which is the bigger issue at this point. Power now setting up really good to have a chance to steal this end. Can't be heavy on this one. Sweeper's just giving a little bit of a dust. A little harder now. Come right in. I don't know that you want to be way in there. Could be a big problem. You could actually make the triple here and lose the shooter even, and have everything disappear. Really needed to be short on that rock. Needed to be, you know, even as short as the other guard. The yellow guard wouldn't have hurt. Mike Fleming got a chance to really make a difference here in this end now. This one's curling a bit. Should be close. Whoa. Well, that's a great shot. Basically left yourself a little biter at the top with maybe a chance to win the game at that point if it comes to that. Get rid of 2 rocks in the house. Almost made the triple. Did, I guess, if you count his own, but almost made the triple on all the reds. Good throw. Teams have been really good with those run backs today. We've seen Chris Grancelli make a couple. Mike's made 2 or 3. It's been a solid effort by everybody out here. So we're going to throw guard on the shot. He's just off the button. He's only about 10 inches off the button, so he's got a pretty good rock in the house here to potentially steal this in. Somewhere around top 12, probably maybe even a touch shorter than top 12 would be good here. Looks really heavy. That was a real big miss by Greg Powers. I'm not quite sure what he's throwing there. He's had nice draw weight all day, and he threw really a rock that didn't hit anything, would have went through the house.
Just strolls in first steal, just whips him out.
Who would have expected him to throw that light, if anything, really? Would have figured that he'd be thinking, well, it can't be heavy, so bit of a surprise there. So Roulette team pretty near out of trouble here, really. They've really hit this one and stay anywhere is pretty good. You know, Power's probably coming around the guard, but you're going to have a shot where a couple minutes ago it looked like you might not have a shot. So big change around in 3 shots. 2 shots, I guess, really. Fleming's double peel and the missed guard on the Powers team. The only real bad result here would be just to hit that and maybe roll about a rock to the left as we look at it on the screen and set up a freeze attempt by Powers. That would be the only rock, the only place this rock could end up, which would be really bad. He's working pretty hard on it. Should be fine. Other than it ended up pretty much where I said the only place that it couldn't end up was right there. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Power has a chance now to make it one good shot and put a lot of heat on Kevin Ouellette. Both skips finding, both skips who have both had quite good games, both probably threw shots that they really, really didn't want to throw right there. So looking to play the intern freeze. He can make this really, really good. Kevin Ouellette might almost have no chance to score. Basically play the freeze, just get the rock just barely over the center line. It's got to be perfect. Can't afford to be heavy, can't afford to be light, but still, if you can make it perfect, he had a really good chance here. I'm sure after his first one, he's just glad he's got a chance. As I said, he's had good draw weight all day, so we'll see what happens on this one. Sweepers are on it pretty hard. I think the line's fine. I think the line's real good, just don't want to bounce this too much. Looks like a great shot. They got to go, though. Got to go. No, he's going to be just a touch short. Really good effort by Greg Powers. But Kevin Ouellette manages to get a point without having to throw his last rock here. The Dave Jones Mayflower Cashspiel at the Mayflower Curling Club. And that concludes our broadcast for this draw. We'll be back on at 7:30 this evening and all weekend long. So stay tuned, take in the games. Come on over and watch a game if you got the time. And we'll sign off for now.
You